attempt to wheel his way out of a difficult situation. Do not go anywhere, folks. We will be back with more World Cup action on the other side of this short break.
Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are continuing the coverage of a FIDE World Cup 2023 that is held in Baku, Azerbaijan. And in today's game, Vincent Keymer upsets Magnus Carlsen. That's all you need to know. Amazing game, and without further ado, we will go straight into it. Vincent Keymer opened the game with d4. We have knight f6 for Magnus Carlsen, c4, and e6 was played. We have knight c3, and Magnus Carlsen now strikes in the center with d5. We have an exchange, c takes on d5, e takes on d5, and we have bishop g5 played by Vincent Keymer. Bishop e4 for Magnus Carlsen, right now pinning this knight, and we have e3 by Vincent Keymer. We are in Queen's Gambit declined. Our game continued with h6, now pushing away this bishop, and now Vincent Keymer plays bishop f4. Computer sees this as a slight inaccuracy and recommends playing this bishop on h4. Although this is not a mistake, our game continued with bishop f5 for Magnus Carlsen, a really decent move. Bishop d3, Vincent Keymer offering this bishops for trade. Trade happens, and after queen takes on d3, Magnus Carlsen plays c6. He wants to put even more protection on this pawn on d5. Our game continued with knight to e2 by Vincent Keymer. We have knight h5, right now attacking this bishop. Vincent Keymer puts this bishop on e5, right now aiming at this pawn. Of course, f6 is not a good move. I will show you right now why. So if you decide to play f6, that's a huge blunder, because queen g6 is what follows, and after king e7 we have bishop picking up on b8, and now you have to make a decision which piece you will give, but it's an exchange up for Vincent Keymer, and this is a bad move, obviously. So after a bishop e5, knight d7 was played for Magnus Carlsen. We have h3 preparing the escape route for this bishop, and now knight h to f6 was played for Magnus Carlsen. Now Magnus Carlsen had another option here after this move, so after h3 maybe he could have played knight picking up on e5, and after d takes on e5, g6 to open the square for this knight. As you can see, this knight is kind of trapped, so you have to be careful. We will have castle by Keymer, queen e7, f4, bishop picks up on c3, queen picks up on c3, and castle queenside for black. So this is the position that could have transpired, but Magnus Carlsen decided not to play on this. And after knight h on f6, our game continued with bishop h2. Keymer wants to save his bishop. We have castle for Magnus Carlsen, and now we have a3 for Vincent Keymer attacking this bishop. For now, Magnus doesn't want to trade, and he plays bishop a5. We have castle for Vincent Keymer. Rook e8 for Magnus Carlsen developing his piece, and rook a to c1, a decent move by Vincent Keymer. Our game continued with queen e7 for Magnus Carlsen. We have b4, right now pushing away this bishop again. Bishop d8 was played for Magnus Carlsen, which is the best move of the game, and now the position is completely equal. Our game continued with knight to g3 with the idea to invade on this beautiful f5 square. Game continued with bishop c7. Right now Magnus wants to trade the bishops and also put pressure on this knight here. Of course, Keymer doesn't want to give up his knight, and he plays knight f5. We have the trade, bishop picks up on h2, king picks up on h2, and right now, since this queen is attacked, Magnus has to move it somewhere, and Magnus plays queen e6. Our game continues with knight to g3, since right now this knight is sort of hanging. And we have queen d6 by Magnus Carlsen, right now putting this knight on pin, since this king is on h2. King g1 to remove himself from the pin, and right now Magnus strikes with a5 to open the game on the queen's wing. Queen b1 was played for Vincent Keymer. Although this move is good, it's not the best. Actually, computer recommends picking up this pawn. So our game continued with knight b6 for Magnus Carlsen. We have a trade, and after knight c4 firstly, Magnus for now refuses to pick up this pawn back. We have queen b4, Vincent Keymer offering the queens for trade. Magnus for now refuses, and he picks up this pawn. The position is equal and the material is equal. We have knight picking up on d5, nice tactical move by Vincent Keymer. We have knight picking up on d5, this queen is still defended. We have queen picking up on c4 right now, this knight, and after rook picks up on a3, queen goes on c5. A very brave play by Vincent Keymer. The position is now equal, the material is equal, and Vincent Keymer wants to play endgame against Magnus Carlsen. Really brave. So after queen picks up on c5, rook picks up on c5, Magnus plays rook e to a8. Our game continued with knight f5, a really decent move, preparing some tricks, and Magnus now plays h5. We have g4 by Vincent Keymer. h takes on g4, x takes on g4, and now rook a2 was played for Magnus Carlsen, sort of putting pressure on this pawn here. For now it is defended, but later can be weak. Our game continued with a beautiful rook b1 move, of course putting your rook on the open file and aiming at this pawn. Right now Magnus is forced to offer a trade of these rooks, which happens in the game. Rook takes on a1, rook takes on a1, and king g2 was played for Vincent Keymer. Magnus now plays king f8. He wants to involve his king in this endgame. We have g5 for Vincent Keymer, and now we are coming into the critical part of the position. At this move, Magnus makes a mistake and he plays knight c7. This was not the best move. Actually, the best move was to offer this trade on e7, and this would leave this position completely equal, but unfortunately now it's not equal anymore after knight c7. So Vincent Keymer finds an amazing move and he finds knight d6. With this move now he's also threatening to obviously attack and take this pawn, but also second threat, pardon me, is to go with his rook on f5 and then attack this pawn. Magnus now makes another mistake by computer. He plays g6. Rook b1 was best here, recommended by the computer, but Magnus was really scared of this threat, putting the rook on f5 and attacking this pawn, and that is the reason why he's making his position even worse. So after that, knight picks up on b7. Obviously, rook b1 was played for Magnus Carlsen, and after this, Keymer again finds another move, a really good move, knight d8, with the idea to attack this pawn. We have a rook b5 offering the trade. Of course, since he's a material up, Vincent Keymer accepts this. Rook picks up on b5, c picks up on b5, and another great move, knight c6. Right now you are stopping the advancement of this free pawn. So of course, nice move. King e8 was played for Magnus Carlsen, and now we have knight b4, just moving this knight away from this king because this king will come and attack it. King e7 was played for Magnus Carlsen, and we have f4 for Vincent Keymer. Vincent just creating this pawn of a chain of pawns, and now we have king d6 by Magnus Carlsen. Again, in the end games you have to bring your king. We have king f3 as well for Vincent Keymer. We have knight e6 for Magnus. King e2, right now moving your king to a better square and also offering the defense of this free pawn. Knight g7 was played for Magnus Carlsen. We have e4 by Vincent Keymer, right now taking away this nasty spot. And we have knight h5. Right now this knight is attacked, so Vincent Keymer has to defend it. He plays king f3. We have knight g7 again because this knight is useless here. He cannot go anywhere. And we have knight d3 by Vincent Keymer. We have knight h5 again for Magnus Carlsen, and we have king e3 for Vincent Keymer. For now, this pawn is defended and this king is free to roam and come and get this pawn if needed. Now knight g3 was played for Magnus Carlsen, putting the knight on the more active square. We have d5 for Vincent Keymer, king c7, king d4, a really precise play by Vincent Keymer, king b6 for Magnus Carlsen. Knight e5 was played for Vincent Keymer, right now attacking this pawn. b4 was played for Magnus Carlsen, a tricky move, now waits for his opponent, if possible, to make some mistake, but there is not enough time to make a mistake for Vincent Keymer. Literally this pawn is too slow, and we have king and we have knight, and there is nothing he can do. Our game continues with knight picking up on f7. This pawn is free actually. After b3 we have a beautiful knight e5, a tricky move right now. If you decide to push your pawn, we have beautiful knight c4 check, and this pawn will fall, and that's definitely a game over. So after knight e5, knight e2 was played for Magnus Carlsen, the last attempt to maybe draw or win this game. After king e3, Magnus continues with king b5. We have knight d3 for Vincent Keymer, right now taking away this spot. We have knight c3 for Magnus Carlsen. We have d6. Now white has also a passed pawn, and it is really difficult for black to defend it. Knight c6 was played for Magnus Carlsen, and after e5 Magnus was thinking and he decided to resign because this game is over. Just one of the possibilities, for example, that could happen is after e5, knight d5, for example, we have king d2, and right now you can push your pawn, but nothing will happen. King c2, b1 queen, king picks up on b1, knight b6, and king c2, and this is game over simply because you don't have enough pieces to stop these amazing passed pawns. Pardon me. And this is how this game ended, and this is all I have prepared for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this game. This tournament is really interesting and more promising games are coming ahead, so please stay tuned. And also I appreciate all of your support, it means a lot to me. If you like this video, please make sure to leave a like, comment and share the video, as it really helps a lot my channel to grow even further. Thank you so much for watching and I wish you a pleasant day. Bye bye.